16.2 Single Price Monopoly. In this chapter, we cover demand and marginal revenue in pure monopoly. Marginal revenue is less than price in pure monopoly. Relation between marginal revenue, total revenue, and elasticity. Output and price decision under pure monopoly. Demand and marginal revenue in monopoly. The demand curve for monopolist is quite different from that of the pure competitor, because the pure monopolist is the industry or is the sole producer in its market. In its demand curve is the market demand curve, and because market demand is not perfectly elastic, the monopolist demand curve is down sloping. Note that quantity demanded increases as price decreases. The market demand curve provides a constraint on a monopoly's ability to profit from its market power. In particular, the market demand curve describes the combination of price and quantity that are available to a monopoly firm. By adjusting the quantity produced, the monopolist can choose any point on the demand curve, but it cannot choose a point off the demand curve. Marginal revenue is less than price in pure monopoly. A monopolist's market marginal revenue is always less than the price of its good. With a fixed downsloping demand curve, the pure monopolist can increase sales only by charging a lower price. Consequently, when a monopoly increases production by 1 unit, it must reduce the price it charges for every unit it sells, and this cut in price reduces revenue on the previous units. As a result, a monopoly's marginal revenue is less than its price. In contrast, in a perfectly competitive market, the price would not drop at all as output increased, so marginal revenue would remain the same as price. The firm's total revenue would increase at a steady rate with production. The figure shows that the market demand curve, marginal revenue curve, at each output, marginal revenue is less than price. You can see the marginal revenue curve lies below the demand curve because a lower price is received on all units sold, not just on the marginal unit. If the price falls from $16 to $14, the quantity sold increases from 2 to 3 haircuts. The total revenue lost on 2 haircuts is $4. The total revenue gained on 1 haircut is $14 and marginal revenue is $10. To sell third unit, the monopolist will get $2 less revenue for each of the first 2 units. Thus, the marginal revenue of the third unit is $10. That is $14 minus $4 is equal to $10, considerably less than its $14 price. Marginal revenue, total revenue, and elasticity. Because it must lower price on all units sold in order to increase its sales, an imperfectly competitive firm's marginal revenue curve lies below its downsloping demand curve. Because marginal revenue is a change in total revenue, marginal revenue is positive while total revenue is increasing. As output increases, the firm moves down its demand curve from point A to point B. Marginal revenue remains positive. Total revenue continues to increase. When total revenue reaches its maximum, marginal revenue is 0. In the figure up to point B, the effect of increasing Q dominates the effect of falling P. The total revenue rises. Marginal revenue is positive above the quantity axis. When total revenue is diminishing, marginal revenue is negative. In the figure beyond Q, the effect of cutting price on total revenue is larger than the effect of increasing quantity. Marginal revenue is negative. The monopolist sets prices in the elastic region of demand. We already learned about the total revenue test for the price elasticity of demand. If a fall in price increases total revenue, demand is elastic, and if a fall in price decreases total revenue, demand is inelastic. The total revenue test implies that when demand is elastic, a price decrease raises output demanded so much that total revenue rises, so marginal revenue is positive. When demand is inelastic, marginal revenue is negative. Marginal revenue is 0 when demand is unit elastic. In the figure, as price falls, the marginal revenue is positive, that is blue bars. Demand is elastic. the marginal revenue is zero, then demand is unit elastic. If marginal revenue is negative, that is red bars, then demand is inelastic. The relationship between marginal revenue and elasticity implies that a monopoly never profitably produces along the inelastic range of its demand curve. The implication is that a profit maximizing monopolist will never choose a price quantity combination when price reductions cause total revenue to decrease, that is, marginal revenue to be negative. Here's why. To get into the inelastic region, the monopolist must lower price and increase output. In the inelastic region, a lower price means less total revenue, and increased output always means increased total cost. Less total revenue and higher total cost yield lower profits. If a monopoly did produce along the inelastic range of its demand curve, it could increase its total revenue by raising its price and selling a smaller quantity. Also, by producing less, a firm's total cost would fall and the firm's profit would increase. Now, we shall see output and price decision under pure monopoly. Like in pure competition, the pure monopolist produces or maximizes profit by producing at the MR is equal to MC output. Because as long as marginal revenue exceeds marginal cost, then producing an additional unit will increase profits. When marginal revenue equals marginal cost, then the monopolist looks to the demand curve to see what price it corresponds to. At that price, profit is maximized. If the monopolist increases production beyond MR is equal to MC, then the marginal cost will be greater than for each of the additional unit than marginal revenue, which will decrease profits since costs continue to increase. The table summarizes Bobby's revenue, costs, and economic profit. Economic profit, which equals total revenue minus total cost, is maximized at $12 an hour when Bobby sells 3 haircuts an hour for $14 each. If she sold 2 haircuts for $16 each, her economic profit would be only $9. And if she sold 4 haircuts for $12 each, her economic profit would be only $8. You can see why 3 cuts is Bobby's profit maximizing output by looking at the marginal revenue and marginal cost. When Bobby increases output from 2 to 3 haircuts, her marginal revenue is $10 and her marginal cost is $7. Profit increased by the difference $3 an hour. If Bobby increases output yet further from 3 to 4 haircuts, her marginal revenue is $6 and her marginal cost is $10. In this case, marginal cost exceeds marginal revenue by $4, so profit decreases by $4 an hour. The figure here shows Bobby's economic profit as a vertical distance between TR and TC curves. Bobby maximizes her profit at 3 haircuts an hour and earns an economic profit of $12 an hour. That is $42 of total revenue minus $30 of total cost. In figure B, Bobby maximizes profit by producing the output at which MC is equal to MR, that is 3 haircuts an hour. To set the price, the monopoly uses the demand curve and finds the highest price at which it can sell the profit maximizing output. In Bobby's case, the highest price at which she can sell 3 haircuts an hour is $14 a haircut. In the figure, it is found by extending vertical line till monopolist's demand curve from output. When Bobby produces 3 haircuts an hour, her ATC or average total cost is $10 and her price is $14. Her profit per haircut is $4. That is $14 minus $10. Price minus ATC. Bobby's economic profit is shown by the blue rectangle, which equals the profit per haircut, that is $4 multiplied by the number of haircuts, 3 an hour, for a total of $12 an hour. A positive economic profit is an incentive for firms to enter a market, but barriers to entry prevent that from happening in a monopoly. So in a monopoly, the firm can make a positive economic profit and continue to do so indefinitely. Note that a monopoly does not have a supply curve because it sets the supply according to the demand. In most markets, the market price is determined by the intersection of the demand and supply curve. However, for a monopoly, the market price is not set by the intersection of the demand and supply curves. For the monopolist decides what the supply will be, the monopolist sets the price at which its profits are maximized, which will then determine what the supply will be. To summarize, the monopolist finds the profit maximizing output by finding that quantity where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, then projects that quantity onto the market demand curve to determine what market price corresponds to that quantity. The monopolist economic profit is then equal to the average revenue minus the ATC multiplied by the number of units sold.